What is up, everybody? Welcome to the second edition of Coffee with Walt. The first one was more of an impromptu, let me just put some good guidance out for folks. This one is tailor-made for the particular agents that asked questions that I'm going to answer today. So if you brought your coffee, let me know what you're drinking, drop a comment below. I'm recording this in the afternoon, but I'm still drinking coffee because you can't have coffee with Walt without drinking coffee, right? Likewise, you don't want to sit in Walt's dining room and have coffee. So you'll see the backdrop is a nice Hawaiian coffee shop setting. I mixed it up from the last time just to keep it interesting because eventually you're going to get bored of hearing me and seeing my ugly mug. All right, so no real particular script today. I literally wrote down all of the questions that were asked in the Facebook group, and I'm just going to go one by one and answer all those questions, and I might get on some side tangents here and there, but I'm going to attempt to keep this relatively short and answer the questions. Before I dive into the questions, I do just want to take a minute or two and talk about who I am, why am I doing this, because I think it's only fair to you if you're going to listen to someone tell you how to be a successful real estate agent and run a business, you should at least know what their credentials are, right? So let me give you a quick background on me so you know I'm not just some Yahoo throwing out random data. I spent 21 years in the Navy. My entire adult life has been about serving other people. As I was winding down that career in the Navy, I decided to get into real estate so that I could continue serving other people outside of the military. I got my license in the middle of a year. It was literally the end of May, so almost exactly the middle of the year. And the first, half of a year that I was licensed, I actually closed 9 or 10 deals, which for a new agent is apparently really good. The second and every other subsequent year after that, in every one of my full years as a licensed agent, I have closed over 6 figures in gross commission income. The first year I was licensed, I was still active duty Navy. And so many of the things that I tell new agents to do, I actually legitimately didn't have the time to do as in depth as I would like to because I was doing an active duty full-time Navy job. And so even with that, I was still able to do 6 figures in gross commission income. Why do I say that? I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that for 2 reasons. One, so that you know I have some semblance of credibility when I say the things that I am going to tell you about will make you money in real estate, right? That's the ultimate goal, is to make money in real estate. I've done it. I've done it even while working a full-time job. You can absolutely do it. The second one is, I think everyone that gets into real estate wants to do 2 things. They want to serve people well, hopefully, and even those that don't want to serve people well, they still want to be able to pay their bills, take care of their family, accomplish goals, or live out their dreams, right? That's why we do any endeavor. And so the things that I'm going to tell you to do, if you do these things and you put forth some effort, you will absolutely do well in real estate. Real estate is a phenomenal business to have. It's a great service to give other people, but in return for that service, you can also make a decent amount of money, which is great for your family and your long-term goals. Okay, so that's where I'm coming from. All right, so enough about me. That's enough background. I do okay at this business. I do okay, I think, because of my passion for serving others and my structure, which allows me to run a business like it is a business. And so that's important. All right, so before we dive into the questions, drop a comment. Tell me what you're drinking. I want to know what kind of coffee you like. Black coffee, fufu creamer, tea, chai, latte, whatever you're into. I want to know what you're drinking because it's Coffee with Walt. I want to know that I'm sharing coffee with somebody. Okay, so let's talk about the various questions. Now, the first couple comments that I got on the post was actually from brand new agents, and they literally said, I don't even know what questions to ask, so I'm just going to follow this and watch the video and hope that I can glean something out of that. So for those agents that are brand new, I will also, in addition to this video, I'm going to recommend that you go and watch my Coffee with Walt video, the first one I did. I'll put a tag to it up at the top of the screen. If you haven't seen that one, I'm not going to go into every little thing that I talked about in that, but that one was designed really for new agents specifically, kind of a step-by-step walkthrough of what I think you should do as a new agent to get started on the right foot. So check that one out as well. All right, so let's dive right into the questions. Let's not waste any time. First question on the list was from Kathy Owensby. And she said, what is the best way to get clients? I'm new and I'm nervous about calling and door knocking. Okay. So nervous about calling and door knocking, but what's the best way to get clients? Well, I'm going to tell you the best way to get clients is to establish a quality relationship with people. And the more people you establish quality relationships with, the more people are going to want to do business with you. Now, here's the reality. In order to establish relationships, you need to be talking to people. So calling is a great way to start building those relationships. Door knocking is a great way to start building their relationships. Realize that people are nervous, especially in our current environment. I realize that a lot of people are nervous about door knocking and getting physically face to face with someone they don't know. And I get that, I do. There's nothing at all to be nervous about when you're cold calling somebody. Nothing whatsoever. Here's the thing. Everything I do in my business and everything I recommend you do in your business should be focused on adding value to people's life. That's the goal of the relationship. It's not to close a deal. It's not to make money off of them. It's not to make a transaction happen. It's to build relationships and add value to those people. If you're calling someone simply to ask what you can do for them, what's the absolute worst that can happen? They say, absolutely nothing. Don't ever call me again. And they hang up the phone. What did you lose? 15 seconds of your time. You're never going to bump into that person at the grocery store and they know who you are. They never saw you. A 15-second phone call where they grouched at you and hung up, they are never going to interact with you again. Don't be nervous about calling people. Call them with the right intentions. Call them and don't say, well, I'm Walter Key with Long and Foster. Would you like to sell your house today? You're going to get hung up on, rightfully so. You sound like a salesman. I hate salesmen. But if you call people and you say, hey, this is Walt Key with Long and Foster. I hope you're doing well today. I was just calling because, pick a because, right? A house just sold, a house just listed. I just moved to this market. And I was just calling to see if there's anything in the world that I could do to help you today. Okay. Immediately you start off with, I'm here to help you. Now, a lot of them are still going to think you're a salesman and that's just your line, and that's fine. But you need to learn to establish a rapport. And I don't want to dive into a 20-minute dissertation on how to cold call properly. If there's interest in that, I will absolutely do a video specifically on cold calling. Which scripts make sense for various situations, how to call somebody and not sound like a salesman robot. I'm happy to do that because I truly do believe that cold calling people and building the relationship and staying with them and nurturing that relationship ultimately does lead to great transactions in the future. But you have to be comfortable interacting with people. And calling is one of the greatest ways to do that. So short of knocking on doors and cold calling, because that was the question, right? How do you get clients outside of that? I like to leverage every single possible means available to me. So door knocking and cold calling are great tactics. Other things you can do. You can drive through a neighborhood that you specifically want to do business in, and you can put flyers up in the doors. Do not put them in mailboxes. That's a crime. Do not put stuff in people's mailboxes. But you can put stuff on people's doors. And it can be as simple as a flyer with your name and contact info saying, hi, I'm your neighbor in the community. Love to speak to you if you ever have questions about the real estate market, whatever it might be. You can do that. You don't have to interact with them directly. And those that might be interested will reach out to you. Now, you'll probably build far less relationships that way because most of them are going to throw the flyer in the garbage. Some of them will not. It's worth your time to try. Social media. Well, this is a big one, okay? So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, all of those social media platforms are great ways to build organic leads from people who feel a connection to you. Now, they don't have to be immediately on your friends list right now. And believe it or not, a lot of people do social media wrong. And again, there's so much that we could dive into on social media. If you guys are interested, drop a comment. If you want to do a video on social media, drop a comment. Make a video just on social media if you like. I love giving value away, and that's why I'm doing these videos. There's a lot to cover on social media. How you use social media actually differs from LinkedIn, Vice, Facebook, or Instagram. And there are different ways to slice those pies. But social media is a great way to highlight the person you are and reach out to people so that when they are ready to do real estate, you are the person that's top of mind. And it's not about inundating your social media with just sold, just listed, under contracts, this and that. You know, that's all fine and dandy, but people need to feel the connection to you so that they trust you when the time comes that they're going to buy a house. And so I say about 80% of your social media should be personal in nature. It should be you hanging out with the kids. It should be a picture of you and the dog. It should be a quote that you really like that works for you, right? It's your life. People want to connect to you. About 20% of that should be real estate related. And of that 20%, most of it needs to be one of a couple things. It needs to be value added material directly to that person that highlights you as the market expert. So I'm putting out monthly trends and analysis in our market. That's valuable content that a potential buyer or seller could use. And because you're putting it out, it starts to establish you as the go-to expert. The other piece of that is you want your testimonials, right? If a previous client leaves you a great review, post that. Don't get all fancy and frame it and do stars and try to make it like a marketing pitch. Just take the testimonial, snapshot it in its current content. If there's a grammar error or a spelling error, that's fine. That's a human thing. You'll get more connection from that than you trying to get it all fancy and Gucci and looking amazing. But post those referrals, I'm sorry, not referrals, post those reviews and those testimonials to highlight your service to clients. And don't get all wordy and try to talk about how let the testimonial speak for itself, right? Post the testimonial, maybe a quick one-liner about it was such a blessing to be able to serve this wonderful family as they made the transition into wherever they're going. And then let the testimonial speak for itself. That's all you need to do. And then there are within social media, right? You can pay for advertising within social media with some geo-targeted advertisements going after a particular niche that you're interested in. That's doable. And again, we don't have an hour to dive into all that, but that's doable. More than anything, just be active on your social media. Go live on your social media at least once a week. Whether it's a Facebook Live, it's an Instagram Live, go live. You get far more views. The algorithms are far more in your favor when you're live. And so jump online and take literally a minute to 2 minutes. Don't make these long unless you're doing an educational thing to build your credibility as a market expert, and then you can make those longer. But your other ones should be 2 minutes or less. Jump online, highlight, hey, I'm heading into the office today to help some wonderful clients, and I just wanted to say happy Friday. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. What are you doing this weekend? Drop me a comment. Let me know what your plans are. Like, personable, short, but that Facebook Live will get more reach. So go live on your social medias and then post something on your social medias every day. Go live once or twice a week at least and post every day. Valuable content, personal content, things that establish you as the market expert, things that allow people to feel a personal connection to you. So when they're ready for your market expertise, they feel comfortable reaching out to you. That's the key to social media. Okay. So we'll talk about door knocking, cold calling, flyers, social media. Well, let's leave it at that for now. Here's the one thing I think I'm gonna get to it in some other questions, so I'm gonna hold tight. Let's dive into some more questions. But that was from Kathy Owensby. Thank you so much, Kathy, for the question. Let's move down the list. I'm gonna lump two of these together because they were similar questions. So Jules Palumbo said, what's the best tool to use for contract dates? And then Kelsey DeSanto said, how do you make yourself seem confident while still learning? And so she also said, how do I not discredit my profession if I need to make a change or make an adjustment? So let's talk about those two kind of together. So how do I keep track of dates and timelines and important milestones? And how do I seem confident while I'm still learning processes? And here's the answer to both of those questions. Checklist. Okay. Use a checklist for your transactions. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I've been doing this for years and I've been doing it well. I still use the checklist every time. Use a checklist for a buyer. Use a checklist for selling. When you're under contract, have a checklist to walk through each step. If I'm a buyer under contract, here's all the things I need to be watching. If I have a seller under contract, here's all the things we need to do to close the deal on time. Here's all the milestones. Here's all the things that I need to do. Assign dates to those things that you need to do based on when you go under contract and when you close. And then look at that checklist every day. You won't necessarily need to do something every day, but look at that checklist every day to ensure that you don't miss anything. And even if you're still learning the processes, right, you're still learning to negotiate, perhaps there's some contract things, by building out quality checklists in advance, you don't miss anything and it looks like you are a solid professional that's been doing this for years because nothing gets dropped as you go through. Same thing for the organization piece of it, right? You don't worry about your timelines. You don't worry about what was the date that that EMD is due? What is our deadline for the home inspection? When are we scheduling a final walkthrough? When do I order the termite inspection for my seller? Do I need to do a septic or well inspection before we close? When do I reach out and ask if we've got loan commitment before we close? Put all of those timelines as a line item on your checklist to follow through. Now, you can do that in a lot of ways. You can use an Excel spreadsheet. You can build out a checklist, save it as a Word document, print it out for each transaction. You can use a whiteboard and hit the high points on a whiteboard. The way that you do the checklist is entirely up to you, whatever your comfort is, but build and use a checklist for every transaction. Every transaction. That will go a long way, not only to you looking professional, the perception of professional because the transaction goes smooth, but it will also help you learn the process because there are things, right? There's a lot of wickets in this process. There are a lot of things that it's easy to forget until you get really familiar with them. So that will help you learn and be more professional. It will keep you on track. It'll make you the rock star in front of your clients. They don't need to know you have a checklist. All they need to know is everything is going so smooth. That's what you want. Okay, and then the other piece to that for the confidence piece. Kelsey, you said, how do you make yourself seem confident while still learning? Let's talk a little bit about mindset and perception. The best way for you to seem confident is to be confident. Now, the best way for you to be confident is to know what you're doing. And I realize you said as you're still learning. So do as much as you can early in your real estate career to learn. Don't wait for a transaction to occur before you start learning the ins and outs of a transaction, right? Either help someone else in the office, have a coffee date with someone and ask them to walk through their entire mental process of a sales transaction, of a purchase transaction. Just sit down and review your actual state contracts. Do all of that on your downtime when you're not servicing clients, which when you first start this business, right, you're still building your client base. You're not quite as busy with clients. Take that time to learn really well. That will go a long way to you building that confidence. Now, let me talk also about perception for a minute. But first, coffee with Walt. In your own mind, you might feel like you're not really confident. But as long as the transaction is moving smoothly and you are communicating with your client, they are going to perceive you as a competent, confident professional because that's what they see from the outside looking in. So even if you feel like you're not super confident, they don't see that. We use this. Sometimes we use this analogy of a duck on the water, right? When you look out on a lake and you see these beautiful swans just gliding across the glass water of a lake, what you don't see is those little feet just paddling along like crazy so that they can look like they're smooth sailing across the water. And that's kind of real estate sometimes. The clients see the smooth professional transaction playing out. all the way up to closing and beyond. In the background, we're over here running checklists and checking on dates and calling this person and what about the title search and how are we doing on this and do we have loan commitment and what is going on next. But the perception from the client is a smooth transaction. And so don't be afraid to be a little nervous and be a little frantic. That's okay. The checklist will help keep that in check. And the more you do this, the smoother it's going to be in your own mind, right? The more you do it, the more confident you're going to be. But understand that it's not looking as crazy to the outside looking in as you might think. So don't beat yourself up over that. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Arissa McRoberts, hope I pronounced that right, said, what are the top suggestions and cost for advertising? Again, besides door knocking and cold calling. I don't know why you guys don't like door knocking and cold calling. So I'm a numbers guy, right? I spent 21 years in the Navy. Most of that time was as a government analyst. So my job was to dig into data, research trends, historical analysis, what's going on here. I'm a numbers guy. One of the single best returns on your investment, your money per lead, is cold calling. Now obviously there are free things, right? Go out and get in the market and just meet people and be friendly and pass out business cards. It's free. All it takes is your time. But in terms of paid lead generation, one of the best returns on your money is cold calling people. It is actually picking up the phone and starting conversations with people that build into relationships. So I'm a big fan of cold calling if you're going to do any sort of paid lead generation. Now, let's dive back to the question, because the question was, what are the top suggestions and costs for advertising? Not counting door knocking and cold calling. Here's what I will tell you right off the get-go. And I firmly believe this, and you can disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. In the scientific world, when you disagree with me, that means you are wrong. I'm kidding. I'm only joking. I truly believe that you should never pay for leads unless there is something that you personally are doing the work to generate the lead, like cold calling, for example. I'm not paying for the leads directly, but I'm paying for the information to call people and build relationships myself. When you really break that down, that means I'm paying a few cents per lead of deals. What I mean when I say don't pay for leads, I mean Realtor, Zillow, whatever else might be out there, where you pay someone else monthly to generate leads for you and send them to you. That is one of the worst possible ways to generate leads. And here is why. One, they're crap leads. Zillow is taking every single person that might have looked online today for something, grabbing their data and flopping it out there to as many agents as they'll pay for it. They're not really qualified. They're not really motivated. How many people go online and look at Zillow daily or weekly that aren't really looking to buy or sell? They're just interested. So that lead that you're getting is crap anyway. And you're paying an exorbitant amount of money for crap. Don't. Especially as a new agent, you don't have a ton of money to be throwing away at crap marketing and crap leads. So don't do that to yourself, please. Just don't. If I know teams and groups that spend tens of thousands of dollars a month on those leads, they also turn around and spend tens of thousands of dollars on dedicated agents to call all those leads and vet them all. And the ones that pan out, they send to an agent to work. If you're new at this business, you don't have a dedicated office assistant. You don't have a dedicated inside sales agent. You don't have all of these other people working for you. And you don't have the revenue to be paying those people to vet all these crappy leads in hopes that you grab a needle in a haystack once in a while at several hundred or potentially several thousands of dollars a month. It's not in your best interest to do that. So don't. Again, Walt Key's opinion, you can disagree with me. You'll just be wrong. Okay. I have never once in my entire real estate career paid for a lead. Never once. I do okay. You don't have to pay for bad leads to do this business well. So don't. So what are some top suggestions? Right, I kind of covered some of them already. So social media. If you are going to pay for marketing, targeted advertisements on social media is a great way to pay for advertising. It allows you to say, these are the types of areas I want to target with my ad. You can build the ad to cater towards a particular niche you might want to serve. And the algorithms that exist within social media platforms can then target your ad specifically to the niche that you want to serve in the areas that you're interested in. And so therefore the quality of those leads coming in will be far higher, and the quantity of leads coming in will be quite higher, and the quality of the leads coming in will be quite higher, because the ones that are reaching out to you are because they saw your ad specifically and they are reaching out to you. Okay, so that's more bang for your buck by a long shot. It's a much better ROI to do a little social media marketing if you want to. Now you can do a lot of that for free or very low cost on your own. I talked about it earlier. There is some nuance to doing really well with social media. You really want to craft your marketing properly. If you're not familiar how to do that, there are a lot of great organizations out there now that specialize in helping people do social media advertising. Do you pay for that? Yes, right? You pay for that. If you're just getting started in this business and you don't have a lot of the money to throw at it, do it for free on your own. Build your social media presence and don't necessarily worry about the paid advertising stuff. You're going to hear me refer to that a lot. Like, I don't believe in spending money on things you can get for free. That's why I didn't charge any of you for this information, right? Um, you don't need to pay for things you can get for free. You can absolutely get quality leads and build quality relationships without spending a ton of money doing it. And so I tell people to focus on the things that they can do for free or very little that build quality relationships. All right, so moving on a little bit from there, but let's keep going for a minute. It's not really an advertisement, but it is very, very useful for building your business. Get out into your community. Go to your Chamber of Commerce meetings. Go to investor meetups in your area. If you are a scuba diver, go get into some scuba diving groups. If you are a bike rider, go meet up with some bike riders. Whatever your interests are, or if there's something that you've always thought would be interesting but you haven't tried it yet, find those groups in your local market, in person if possible, on social media if need be. Facebook groups for mommies meeting up to do this, or mountain bikers in Central Virginia, or scuba divers off the coast of Tampa, whatever it might be. Get involved in those groups and build relationships. Volunteer in your community. When you see some information about, hey, we're doing this shoe drive, we're going to pack lunches for the elderly, whatever it might be, not only get involved with those groups, but be the source of information on your social media that says, hey, this is a wonderful event happening out in our community. I'm going to be there. Won't you come join me? And that will do lots of things for you in terms of showing your potential clients the kind of person you are, but also getting you out into the community, building relationships directly, one-to-one, face-to-face. That's the way to go. That doesn't cost you anything, again, but your time. And if you don't have a mountain bike and you like mountain biking, it might cost you an initial investment of a mountain bike, right? Whatever it might be for you. So do the things that put you in front of people. Don't do the things that might put people in front of you for high cost. Do the things that get you out in the community, putting you in front of other people. So hopefully that answers your question. Arissa, is a great question, and I hope I got to all of that. The other piece of that, let me touch on that other piece too. How do you navigate an unsteady paycheck? Right? Very, very good question. Great question. I'm new to this business. I don't have a full-time job like Walt he did when he was just starting out. Like, real estate's it for me. Maybe I got a little side hustle. I do some Uber, I do some Lyft to make it work. But how do I manage the unsteady paycheck of, I got a commission this day, I may not get another one for a month when my other house closes. After that closes, I may not get one for 2 months. I don't have anything in the pipeline. How do you deal with that? And so I'm going to give you just a couple high level pointers. Um, I'm going to post another video up top here because I've done some videos on personal finance and kind of how to start off. And so some of that might be real useful here. I'm going to post a video on that as well. The first thing you need to do is write out your no kidding monthly written budget. Know exactly what your expenses are, know exactly what your debts are, know how much money you need to make your month work, and then prioritize those dollar amounts, right? So probably at the top of that list is I got to pay the rent or mortgage, I got to keep the lights on, got to feed the kids. I don't necessarily need to pay the Netflix bill or the Hulu bill or the Amazon Prime bill or the Comcast cable bill or the DirecTV bill or the fill in the blank, right? Prioritize from the top to the bottom of all of your bills. And the reason that we're prioritizing, this is actually called a prioritized spending plan. Because let's say, for example, in that 1 month, your total monthly expenses are $3,500 and you only have one closing that month and you're going to make $3,000. And while, yes, you could potentially go drive for Uber or Lyft, make a little money, do some DoorDash, right, whatever it might be to try to scrape up enough to get break even, maybe you sell something. Let's assume that the $3,000 coming in is absolutely all you're getting. And you've got expenses at the 3,500 level. That is when that prioritized spending plan comes in very, very handy because you're going to pay the rent first. You're going to keep the lights on. You're going to feed the kids. And you're going to walk down that list until you get to a point where you say, I've spent the 3,000. I don't have any more. And if you prioritize, that other $500 is the most insignificant portions of your bills. Like I said, maybe it's Netflix, cancel it. Maybe it's Hulu, cancel it. Maybe it's DirecTV. Well, don't pay it if you don't have it. Until your business builds up and then you start putting money in savings, et cetera. Now, the other piece of that is if you're brand new to real estate, hopefully you did this. If you're just getting into real estate, I advise you to do this if it's going to be your primary source of income is you need to save more money than the average American is saving because you have a more unstable income than the average American has. So at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses should be set aside just in a savings account. So when you do have those really bad months and you got $3,500 in bills, but you're only pulling in $2,500 in commissions, you've got the extra $1,000 in savings to get your bills paid and keep on chugging, and it doesn't hurt so bad. So you need at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a savings account just in case. And then you need that prioritized spending plan, most important priorities to least important priorities, and that's the order you pay them with the money that comes in, okay, until you build up your business and you keep chugging. And that's the way to do that. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything on that point. No, that's exactly what I wanted to cover. That's everything. Okay. Scripts. Let's talk about that for a minute because I've thrown a lot of data out here about door knocking and cold calling and getting in front of people and going to events. I have some scripts that work for sell by owners, for expireds, for geo leads, for past clients that maybe haven't talked to in a long time. And they're all basically the same. There's just really one sentence or so that's different. Here's the thing about scripts. If you speak to me off of a script, you sound scripted. If you sound scripted while you're speaking to me, I'm not interested. And I think you all can probably relate to that, right? We've all gotten that call, that spam, telemarketer trying to make a living, trying to do the thing, and it's very, very clear that they're speaking from a script and they don't have it memorized, and there's no personal connection, and it's just in stereo. And you immediately go, I'm not interested, hang up. So the thing about scripts is scripts are a framework, and you need to be comfortable coloring outside the lines of those frameworks because each individual call, each individual interaction, each individual person you're speaking to, the conversation will take a different angle. And so it's fine if you have a framework by which you want to have a conversation, but don't get so tied down to a script that you become robotic because you'll immediately sound like a salesman and turn everyone off. And that's not how you build relationships. If you're interested in the scripts I have, drop me a comment, just say scripts, please. And I will reach back out to you via either Facebook Messenger if you're one of the folks that posted on the Facebook page, or if you want to drop your email address, make it so that a robot can't get it, right? Spell it out, do different things. I will email you the scripts that I have. But again, it's important to practice those scripts with a friend that can be honest with you and say that really sucked. You sound like a robot. Because you want to be comfortable having conversations with people, and you, like I said, you don't want to sound scripted, even if you're working off the framework of a script. So I hope that helps. All right, continuing on. Venetia, I hope I said that right. Venetia Sherrill. She said, "What are some strategies to get new listings as a new agent?" Okay, here's how you make new clients. This is buyers and sellers. If you want listings, that's fine. If you want buyers, that's fine. Both of these is generally what I'm going to suggest to you. Find ways to add value to people that might want to sell. How do I do that? All right, let's use the social media example briefly. You're going to make a post. Maybe you pay to target it. That's fine too. And you're going to offer a free comparative market analysis to anyone who responds to your post. You can set a timeline if you want. In the next 24 hours, everyone that responds is going to get a free CMA. Or, hey, just reach out to me if you're interested in knowing what the market is doing. I will gladly give you a free CMA. The people who are interested in selling will want to know what their home is worth. And so they'll likely reach out to you and say, hey, I saw your post. Thanks so much. I'd love a free CMA. I'm at 1234 Main Street. Right now, again, they just reached out to you because you added value, and now they want to engage with you about the process. Take it from there. Reach back out to them. Hey, no problem at all. And I just need to get a little bit more information about your home so I can make sure this is the best data for you. Tell me what you have going on. What's making you want to move? Well, Sally's just left for college and it's just me and John now, and we really don't need all this house. We're thinking about downsizing. Keep that going. Oh, that makes perfect sense. Nobody wants to pay for an extra utility bill they don't have to. Downsizing will certainly save you a little bit of money there. Where are you thinking about going? Keep it going, right? Have a conversation, and then absolutely follow up, right? Do the CMA after you get the data. Send them that CMA, no strings attached. Ask them more questions. Tell them to reach out to you. And the ones that are serious and the ones that really want to sell will have already begun building that relationship with you. You've already given them incredible value. Now they want to do business with you. All right, so that's a great way. It doesn't have to be a CMA. You can put out good market data, right? Hey, if anyone would like the local, like here on my weekly newsletter, I have the weekly market stats and I have a monthly market trends by county here in Central Virginia. Hey, the new monthly county statistics just came out. Hit me up if anyone would like to know what the median sales price is in our neighborhood. Right? Little things like that add value. It's going to grab the ones that are interested. If they're interested, it's usually because of a specific reason. Maybe they're going to buy, maybe they're looking to sell. You can easily determine which one that is after you have that initial conversation when they reach out to you. So send that data out into the world. And again, that goes back to reinforcing you as the expert in your market, but you're doing it in a way that sellers and buyers will grab that and that data and reach out to you directly for more. And so that's a good way. Who else we got here? Brady Collins. How to get listings beside Realtor and Zillow. Covered this one already. Sorry if I jumped around a little bit. So Facebook, social media, get out in your local community, make phone calls to people, door knock to people, leave flyers to people. Let me tell you, here's an analogy that I used to do Dave Ramsey pretty heavily. I'm actually completely consumer debt free, except my mortgages, go me, all that jazz. Dave Ramsey used to say something that it's always stuck with me years later. And this is how I equate Realtor and Zillow. Dave Ramsey used to say, paying for a relationship is called prostitution. Right? Now, If I'm trying to build relationships with clients and I'm paying Realtor.com and Zillow.com hundreds of dollars a month to send me a relationship, kind of starts to sound like a prostitution scheme, right? They're the pimp sending me the product, I'm sending them the money. The product ain't that good anyway, right? So don't pay for that stuff. You don't need to pay a bunch of money to build quality relationships. Leverage your sphere of influence heavily, leverage your social media heavily, and take the time to get out into your market in person and add value every chance you get. Always be looking at ways to add value to other people, because that is ultimately what brings you quality relationships, is you being valuable to other people. Okay. And then I think this might be the last one, and we'll wrap this up because we're getting a little long anyway. Um, I hope I wrote your name down right. I'm sorry, Fransley Hernandez. I hope I got that right. I, I have the handwriting of a doctor, so I'm literally having to parse through my own chicken scratch. I apologize. Um, what are some ways to tap into luxury markets? Okay, so I wrote two things down there: slow and steady, and proximity principle. Now, you specifically mentioned luxury market. I want to talk about niche in general, briefly. And again, this is a big subject, but just briefly. Whatever the niche you want to cover, military buyers and sellers, first time home buyers, equestrian owners, luxury market, waterfront properties, whatever it might be for you, whatever demographic, whatever customer base, whatever area you would like to cater to. Start building an in-person relationship in that neighborhood, right? If you want to do equestrian stuff, you better ride some horses. If you want to do waterfront properties, you better know how to be out on the water, right? Boating, skiing, etc. Right? You gotta be able to walk the walk. Luxury is the same way. So build that market slow and steady. Like I've done everything from a $160,000 condo to $1 million horse farm and everything in between. It was a gradual progression to do different stuff. Now, proximity principle, this is a big one. And again, this is for everybody's niche. This is anything you want in life. New job, new friends, different demographic of your market. You want to specialize on a niche. This is true for all of them. Use the proximity principle. What does that mean? That simply means that if you want to be doing something, you need to be around people that are doing it, and you need to be in the places they are doing it. So I go back to the equestrian example. If I want to be an equestrian realtor, I need to be around people in the equestrian community, and I need to be at the places that there are horses being utilized. I need to be at rodeos. I need to be at parades. I need to be at the horse shows. I need to do the things that horse people do, so I can be around horse people in order to build relationships that turn into deals down the road with horse people. Same thing in the luxury market. Same thing in any market. So use that proximity principle. If you want to be a very highly successful realtor, hang out with the top producers in the region, top producers in your office, top producers in other offices. Go find top producers and invite them out to coffee, build a relationship with them, tap into their mindset. You are the sum of your 5 closest friends. Another way to say that is you are the same person 5 years from now, except for your friends and the books you read. Get around people that are doing what you want to do and doing it how you want to do it, and you will slowly transform into those kinds of people. So that's the answer for the luxury market. All right, last but not least, I almost forgot about Kim. I don't even know where this question came from. Kim Donahue says, who is the top of the top in the Tampa market? I don't know, Kim. I'm not in the Tampa market. I did jump online just for fun, and I researched some folks. There's some great agents out in the Tampa market. If you go on any of the online sites that rate agents, there's a lot of them that are closing a lot of great deals. There's a lot of wonderful reviews out there. There's some great teams. There's some great individual agents. But here's the thing, and this is actually, I think, a great spot to leave it. Whoever the number one is in that market right now, at any given moment, they may no longer be the number one. Because in any market, any agent has the ability to be the top producing agent. All they have to do is focus and put in the work, and they can be the top agent. So my goal in any market I go to is to become a top producing agent. I'm really excited because I'm in Central Virginia at the moment. I'm about to make a transition into Florida, and I am super stoked to start crushing it in Florida and helping people in Florida. I'm excited about that. So that short answer is I don't know who the top producing agent is, but if you want it to be you, go to Tampa, become the top producing agent, answer that question for yourself. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up now. I hope this was valuable to everybody. I hope that getting these questions answered helps you in some way. If you have more questions after watching it, drop a comment. I will answer them. If anyone wants to cover anything I talked about in greater detail, let me know, and I will absolutely build an entire video around the concept and the construct and the question that you have to try to help you succeed. Right? I get nothing from this. This is completely free. If you don't like it, I'll give you a refund. I'll give you all your money back. Right? These are just the thoughts and opinions of Walt Key these are the things that I've actually used to build my business very well without paying a bunch of money to other people. And I think anyone can do it. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And again, if there are any questions at all, drop a comment. Oh yeah, wait, real quick. I have to say this because it's going on YouTube. Hit the like button. Please subscribe. Let's get this content out to as many new agents as we possibly can. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.